Welcome to another edition of AL Media's Big Debates, and this one is on Spider-Man Far From Home. As we always do, we sort of go through each person and get their opinion on what they thought the Spider-Man film was like. I'll start and just kick off by saying that I thought it was a really good film. I don't think it was as enjoyable as the first. Controversial, because I know a lot of people seem to have enjoyed that second one, but it was a good film. I think we'll also talk about whether it's an acceptable end to the Phase 3 part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. But I think in itself it was a good film. Val has joined, so that's Val. So welcome to Val. I think I was just opening up my thoughts on the whole Spider-Man film, just briefly. Just going to go in alphabetical order. And you, my friend, are next. So, Val?
That's not fair. He came late.
Yeah, but he's in the corner. He's like first alphabet surname. So, Val, can you hear us? We can't hear you. Okay. All right. So we'll come back to Val then. So next on that alphabetical order is you, John. So if you want to give us a shout on what your thoughts on, briefly, just summarise it briefly.
Yeah, I liked it. I think it was good. I liked it better than the first one. I was pleasantly surprised. I was a bit worried. Like after Endgame, I was thinking the Marvel films are going to go downhill from there. So it was a nice surprise. I just liked it. I thought it was good. A good film. I was happy. When I come out, I was happy.
Okay. All right, good. All right, that's nice, succinct. So moving on to Emmanuel, if you can just tell us what your thoughts were on Far From Home.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. It didn't leave me with much, but it was just like, it was a good film. Probably didn't enjoy it as much as the first one. Yeah, but that's me. I don't know.
Okay, well, that's same as me. So we'll go into maybe the reasons why in a bit. But moving on, Gavin.
Yeah, I thought it was brilliant. I thought it was very
brilliant.
clever.
You say brilliant?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes,
Because it was clever.
Okay.
It was very clever.
Right.
Because it tapped on something I don't think many people actually clocked from Endgame with that blip, and I thought it was at a nice pace, and it was quite funny. There's only one thing I have wrong with it, is that I think when too many people know who Spider-Man is, the game's up. It starts getting a bit shit. So the next Spider-Man I don't expect to be good, because too many people know who he is now. That's the only thing. But other than that, I was surprised how good it was.
Okay. All right, that's an unexpectedly good response.
You're an ass.
All right. Okay, and Louise?
Well, as you know, I only rushed to watch it after you sent me the message to actually go and to come on here. Yeah, I enjoyed it. I did enjoy it. I didn't know how they were gonna spin it, but it was enjoyable. So yeah.
Good. Okay. And I think, Val, can you hear us? Because you're muted at the moment. If you just unmute yourself and just let us know your thoughts.
I can hear you, but the camera on my phone.
Okay, no worries.
But yeah, no, I liked it. I think it was quite. It looked very comic booky. Like the way the visuals were, especially for like Mysterio's effects and the way he was like explained and the way he was handled. I liked it quite a lot. Yeah, how they handled Mysterio and the visuals and stuff like that. And yeah, just how he was handled, as in like where his powers come from. It was a good depiction, quite accurate. Not well, yeah, quite I guess for movies, it's quite accurate to the comics. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. So general consensus is that everyone pretty much enjoyed it. Like, it's not, everyone seems to be happy with the film.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
It's better than Endgame.
Wow.
Nah, it wouldn't be an Endgame.
Oh, get lost, man. And really, come on, this Endgame thing. It's just because it was Endgame, it doesn't mean it was good. This
was
was
good.
miles better than Endgame.
Okay. All right.
Really?
Well, let's start with that then, Gavin. Why do you say that? Why was it better?
Endgame. Listen, the more watch Endgame again, it's atrocious. It's not a fitting end to what they.
How many times have you watched it?
Endgame. Probably about twice or three times. The first time I watched it, I didn't like it. Second time I liked it less. Third time I switched it off. But it's in comparison to
What's the matter with you, man?
No, it's true.
Why did you switch it on in the first place?
The first time I went to watch it, you have to go and watch it. The second time, I think I was showing my nephews, and the third time, I think I just wanted to see if I could watch it, and I couldn't.
So you preferred it to Endgame, but what you said that you didn't like the fact that the Spider-Man reveal. So
I just find when like Batman and all them, when too many people know who that person is, it just starts getting a bit like that's part of the whole thing is the mystery, and he has to hide it. But when everyone knows who he is, it just like it happened in the last series of Spider-Man, and I think by the third one or whatever, it's like the whole world knew who he was, and it was like, oh, he's like having parades and shit. And I just
I thought the reason why he was revealed was because the other like Captain America and Iron Man, they were in that. Oh, was it they had to come open, and so in the comics, I think he basically joins that list as well.
Oh, the civil.
No, that's not this. That's to do with something. That's not to do with that.
Yeah, that's the civil rights. The civil.
Yeah. That's something else. Yeah. But I'll tell you one thing. The beginning was brilliant. It's good. Now the film was good, man. It was a very good film for what it was and for what they had. It wasn't like they were trying to be something bigger than what they needed to be. That's the genius of it. It was subtle. And I thought that was what was good. It wasn't like it didn't build itself up to be this big blockbuster or anything like that. It was just quite understated in the advertising and everything leading up. And then when you saw it, I just thought it was quite clever. Like you couldn't really fault it.
Kevin,
other than
change your perspective because it looks like you kidnapped or like you're
what's that?
Like Blair Witch sort of. Like,
this ain't this.
All right, so Jonathan. I mean, it sounds like you liked it a lot, but was there anything in it that wasn't quite right? Because there's a few things for me, but I'd like to hear you.
No, the only thing that I thought wasn't quite right was before the actual film started. So when I saw the trailer, and I saw all the like the Sandman and all the villains and that, I thought for a second, I was like, how are they going to go from like Vulture being the villain, like a human, and then go to these like super beings or whatever? And I thought that was a bit of a mad jump. And then even when they explained by saying the snap opened up like another portal or whatever, and these things might have come through, I thought, it's going to be a bit like, if they start doing all these weird and wonderful villains, it's going to be a bit mad. But then the twist was really clever. I thought that was really good because it kind of throws you. Like the trailer tells you one thing, and the actual film is like, no, it's not that way. So I thought the twist was really good because it throws you right in. So, and I just loved the film. I think there's nothing wrong with the film. I couldn't pick out anything that made me think, I don't really like it or like that part of it. So yeah, I was 100% sold. I don't think it was better than Endgame. It was on the same level with Endgame, but different types of films.
Different type of film.
Different type of film. But I thought I was worried that it weren't after Infinity War and Endgame, the quality of the films were going to start going down. But this one kind of renewed my confidence a bit in Marvel. So if they can keep doing them like that, I'll carry on being a fan. But I'm a bit skeptical as to whether they're going to do the rest of them are going to be that good. So but no. To answer your question, I didn't think there was anything weak that I can remember. Anyway, I have to think about it. Maybe watch it again. I've only seen it twice, so I need to watch it again and see if I can pick out anything. I watched it legally though. I watched it in the cinema.
Shut up, man. Listen, I've been to the cinema too much. Going back to your point about Spider-Man and the twist, I don't think that twist
was designed to be a twist.
No, it wasn't. But
it was quite comical. It wasn't actually. It was too obvious to it to be a real twist.
But just going back to Jonathan, the one thing that because the reason why it was a twist is because you wasn't aware of Mysterio. Like, like, for those people that aren't familiar with the whole comic book characters, that's.
But even if you wasn't aware, it was just bait. It was like, if I wasn't aware, what I found about it wasn't a twist. Was they were in a pub in full uniform, like with strangers around. It's like the man's in a full-on suit. Even if you don't know that Spider-Man or Monkey Man or whatever you want to call it, the man sitting next to him's in a glowing suit. Who does that? So then from that, I was like, it's not meant. I don't think they wanted you to be shocked by anything. It was just more.
You know what? That's no different from Thor. Like that, Mysterio's whole angle was to try and come across as like his savior, like his godly hero kind of thing.
Yeah, but Spider-Man's sitting next to him.
Yeah, but not a Spider-Man. But
he
wanted to be the next hero.
Yeah. So he was not in. He wasn't hiding anything. Like that wasn't. He was in plain sight as he was.
What the monkey? What Spider-Man?
No. Mysterio. Like him.
Yeah, but Spider-Man was sat in full.
No. Yeah, I understand what Gavin's saying because I thought he'd just been filmed in the black suit.
Yeah.
So everybody was referring to him as, was it Monkey Man or something?
Man,
So then he was still sat visibly in the black suit, and then that's when I started to feel that there's something not right here in this thing. But I did like the way that the thought of the technology to create these illusions was, conjured up. But yeah, I did think that in the pub. I was like, why is he still in his black suit?
Well, you know what? One of my gripes with that character is he seems to be really stupid. Like as clever as he is, Peter Parker's supposed to be really clever, and he does so many stupid things. From the first film, actually, it's just a growing number of things that make me think, yeah, okay, he's a teenager, but he's meant to be a bit more clever than that.
Yeah, but he's 16, isn't he? He's 16.
He's 17 now. I think he's 16.
But that's what they're trying to show is immaturity. So I get why you might make him extra stupid, but
you've got Tony Stark giving him the glasses, like the keys to like nuclear sort of warhead level type of weaponry, and I'm like, would you really do that? If we're talking about age, he's a kid. Like that's not.
Yeah, but he's a kid going through a grieving process, so. You don't know how someone's going to react through a grieving process. So I thought that's what the film was about, him going through a grieving process.
And the glasses.
Wait, but I thought the glasses. I thought the glasses he was given to him, but it was when it backtracked to the why Mysterio was angry about the technology, how Stark was using technology for a therapy.
Yeah.
I thought that was also part of the reason why he was given the glasses.
What who? Because I'm talking about Peter Parker being given the glasses from
Yeah, but he didn't.
Yeah, but the glasses were supposed to be like a therapy thing. Do you remember in the flashback when Mysterio was saying how the technology was basically being used for therapy when it's a lot more powerful than that?
Yeah, that's how it was before. But I think it developed by the time it was.
Yeah, but I thought he was given that because he knew that he was going to lose his life in Endgame.
I think the glasses are a metaphor for with great power comes great responsibility.
Yeah.
I don't think it's there for any sort of therapeutic use, which is what they were sort of developed for. I guess they were developed to try and augment reality. So I think the therapeutic use was like one sort of way that it could be used. But I think when anyone gets their hands on them, that's got a bit of, I don't know,
a different agenda.
They'll use it for whatever, So imagine that in warfare, making people think that they're seeing one thing and they're seeing another. So I think the whole glasses thing it was way too powerful of a thing to give to.
Exactly, and that was my point. So that's if we're talking about his age, that was way too much responsibility for. So,
that's my point. I think if Tony Stark was still alive, he wouldn't have given him the glasses then. But he can't decide when he's dying, so it's not like he
kind of sussed it out because he did the video for his daughter. But the point I'm trying to make is someone else, someone that's older, someone that Captain America. Oh, okay, not Captain America, but Falcon. Whoever's an Avenger.
There was
Like,
no one else to give him to. He don't like Falcon, does he? Like, it's not. It's got to be him.
At the time he gave it to him, he would have still been alive, obviously, and he could have still had influence over him. He's not going to give it to any of them others because they would have used it for their own ends. Like, they're all grown men, so they would have their own agenda. But with someone like Peter Parker, he's young and he can be molded in the way he thinks about things.
John, the guy almost killed his fellow student and a coach, like just by accident. Like, that's,
yeah, no, but when Tony Stark gave him the glasses, he nearly killed that guy, innit? He sent the drone.
By accident.
Yeah, no, but say again.
Superman nearly killed pure people as a kid.
Yeah, I don't think Tony Stark was thinking he's gonna like die straight away. I don't know. Maybe it depends on what he was thinking at the time. But when he gave it to him, he was obviously still alive. So he was giving it to a kid that he could mold into kind of thinking the same way that he thinks. That's why I think.
Tony also felt deeply for Peter as well, because he felt responsible when the snap happened, and out of like all of the others, I think he was like Jonathan was saying, he took him like under his wing, like a protege, like eventually.
Emmanuel, I 100% agree with that as well. But I'm just saying, like Devalta said, with great power comes great responsibility, and that was premature. There's nothing wrong in still handing it to Peter Parker, but wait till he's 21, just like a trust fund.
But I don't think Tony Stark's going to have a will, and then basically put down all the T's and C's on when the glasses need to be given to.
And that's that's nonsense in a way as well, because you're going to watch the world get mashed up, and you've got these glasses for him.
It's other events, it's other people.
He's not old enough yet.
It's other people.
Rhodey could have had it. Rhodey should have had it. He's been Rhodey for years.
No way.
Rhodey's a sensible guy. I mean, realistically, Rhodey is his closest friend that he's known for years. And if he's going to give it to anyone, give it to him. But Rhodey's not big enough. He's not a big enough character.
Rhodey's chips, is that I've heard a terminology the other day. Your chips. He can't do that. I don't think I wouldn't give it to him.
I understand why he didn't, but he's the logical choice. Like, but he won't make a good movie with it.
Rhodey doesn't have.
Your sound is much better, by the way, Deval. I don't know what you've done, but that's definitely an improvement.
Okay, I'm using loudspeaker now, so.
Oh, okay. Yeah, well, just switching it up a little bit, because I guess, Peter Parker's responsibility is one thing, but I guess, and I was originally talking about his naivety and, all the things that come with being a kid, which I guess I ignore a bit, but I think that and the reveal of Spider-Man at the end kind of pose a bit of an issue, but I guess it all depends on where they take it with the next.
Yeah, but also I think the loss of Tony Stark like played throughout the movie almost, because there was moments where like he was reflecting, and I think he was still grieving, so like he wasn't thinking straight, or he can't be thinking straight constantly throughout. Do you know what I mean? So like I think the stupidity part as well is partly as well because he was grieving as well. Like he's lost Tony, and then now he's been given this huge burden. And
but then, Emmanuel, on that point, isn't that even more reason for you not to give someone something at a time where there's kind of a low point?
But then we got to go to the post credits. They weren't, obviously that wasn't thought through when the glasses were given to him. Are we going that far down? Or
but I think it adds to the story though, like, because giving him something so powerful and then having the villain like Mysterio then chasing after that added to making it a better film.
So you've picked up on the next point I wanted to make, which is, for me, one of the reasons why Spider-Man wasn't as good, or I didn't enjoy it as much as I really wanted to. First of all, I'm a massive Spider-Man fan. It's one of my favourite characters in the Marvel's cinematic universe. And so I'm very keen to see a Spider-Man film, but I felt like that still had a very big influence from Tony Stark, just like the first film did. And I feel like this was an opportunity to have a standalone film where we get to see Spider-Man make his impact in his own right, and yet he's still living in this shadow. Spider-Man shouldn't be in anyone's shadow. If we're talking about real Spider-Man, but they kind of, and obviously for movie reasons, and you've got to tie it to the biggest name, and to ensure it has best box office success. But I understand that. But I'm just saying, in the the world of Spider-Man, it shouldn't have been as much in the area of Tony Stark's sort of life, if we're being real.
Yeah, but you could see it as being a point where like there's going to be maybe a third movie, and then it's basically a bit of character building, where you've got the first one, which was good, this one, which in your opinion wasn't as great, but then in order to basically give more depth to it, or like to add more to Spider-Man.
Yeah, but it's still very much connected to Tony Stark. It's still
I think you want too much.
I think that's because I think they've chosen Tony Stark to be their sort of version of Uncle Ben, because they didn't want to rehash the whole Uncle Ben story.
Yeah.
So I think now Tony Stark has taken that sort of mantle of the sort of father figure or uncle figure or whatever, and they had to keep him in it to have that kind of story arc with Peter Parker finding himself, having someone to have that regret with, or having that kind of like loss in his life, because Spider-Man's always had loss. He's always had to deal with loss, whether it's Uncle Ben, whether it's Gwen Stacy, whether it's Mary Jane or whatever. It's like there's always some kind of loss that he has to deal with. So I think that's why they had Tony Stark as that, and that's why I think he was such a big part of the film. But for us, who obviously, we want to see Spider-Man be the Spider-Man that we all sort of have experienced, it's kind of like I don't know, it doesn't really, it's like oil and water, it doesn't really mix too well, though you can see kind of where they're coming from. I don't know, that's the way I sort of see it.
If you got what you wanted, there would have been a gap. There would have been a big jump from him being a little boy to being this conquering Spider-Man. It don't make no sense.
I'm not saying that it should have made the jump like that, but just less of the Tony Stark influence. Like I know Iron Man's the first MCU film, and he like Devan says, the poster boy, and I get that, but just not probably as much as they still had in it.
But the thing is, Endgame was like
the next film has to have Spider-Man, like has to be away from that Tony Stark world, like has to.
I think they can do that in the next one, but because Spider-Man is still so close to Endgame, to have it like so much. I don't know how much less of a tie you wanted with Iron Man, but how Endgame ended, Iron Man was like way up there in terms of like the one character who,
basically, any film that came after this would have had to go with Tony Stark.
Yeah, and I would have preferred it not to have had been Spider-Man, if anything. But it's not just the grieving part. So I get the grieving. They had to do what they did at the beginning of the film. Whitney Houston, amazing, yeah, great. But it's like, I'm talking about the tech. So Spider-Man's skills and his skill set and his abilities is still very much heavily influenced by Tony Stark technology. That's a bit mad, because
but he was given the suit that he had in Endgame. Like he's not exactly going to go back to something less than that. Like really much.
Well, we can't now, but I'm just saying traditionally, for those that really know Spider-Man, it's nothing to do with the tech. Like Spider-Man is a genius in his own right. He can make his own suits, kind of thing.
Yeah, but that's what they introduced. He's making his own suits.
Well, he's not really. Tony Stark made all the suits that Spider-Man was using in that film.
No, he started putting them together.
He made his own one at the end, didn't he?
Yeah,
but he made it through Tony Stark's tech. That's what I'd be saying. It's like
that's a cop out.
But the thing with the suits as well, the reason why they keep flipping the suits, like the black suit, the Iron Spider suit, the sort of the pajama suit, because the deal that Marvel have with Sony is that they get money from the merchandise, and Sony get all the money from the box office. So the Marvel will write into the film that they should have different suits so that they can have more money or have more opportunities to sell different costumes to kids. So in every Spider-Man film, he's going to have to change suits for like silly reasons.
Right.
That's just how it is.
Okay, I didn't actually know that, but that makes business sense. You know, do you know, from what you just said there, I'm like, okay, they probably had to tick a lot of boxes. There's a lot of things that these films have to do, and I guess in that sense, they've done a good job, because it's not like people that like Spider-Man didn't get the Spider-Man, people that like Tony Stark didn't get Tony Stark. The kids loved it. You know, I think on that sense, I think everyone kind of wins. But yeah, I think I just really wanted more Spider-Man.
I think I agree with Deval about the whole aspect, because a lot of the Spider-Man films is focused around his uncle dying. So how would you make it so different? And there has to be that link. I was surprised at how much Tony Stark was around in different countries every time, but I think it had to revolve around grief and that connection, and his grieving to continue on to that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a tie-in. So just moving on, because one thing I would say I really enjoyed, which I think they've nailed, which Deval's already kind of touched on, is the character Mysterio. So when this film was first announced, like Deval will tell you as well, I was not happy with the fact that Mysterio has been presented as a good guy, and that Mysterio had these powers, because if you know about the character, that's just not in sync with what that character is about. So when the so-called twist happened inside of the pub, I was really, really relieved, massive relief, because that is essentially the Mysterio that he was always supposed to be. You know, so it wasn't much of a surprise that, you know, that's the character that was revealed. It's more just, yeah, that's what it's supposed to be. So I'm happy about that. And then the way they featured Mysterio's powers, his so-called powers, was again spot on with the comic, the cartoon. He did everything that character was supposed to do. So in terms of villain accuracy, for me, that was nailed 100%. Like, probably more than the previous Spider-Man villains. So I know probably a small thing for those that don't really know about Mysterio, don't really care, but for those that do, that was amazing. You know, it's good. So I don't know if that resonated with anyone else. I know it definitely did with Val, but Louise?
Yeah, it did for sure. No, I remember. I think we were talking about it, and I think I mentioned it in the podcast as well. I had a funny feeling that the elementals would have something to do with him. I thought that maybe he brought them from another dimension, or he done something to control them, or some sort of trickery. I didn't obviously get it 100%, but I did think definitely he's got something to do with it. Yeah. So when it came about that he is this, I guess in the comics as well, he's a special effects artist. So he works in movies, and he's like the best for special effects. So that's where that's the only difference that there is. But apart from that, I'm with you, Abby. Like, I'm happy that they made it as close as they could without obviously just making it silly, like similar. Yeah. And I like it. I like the way they linked the Iron Man sort of I don't know, villains. I guess people that had beef with him over the years.
Yeah, that's good.
I guess.
Was it actually the same actors? Did they change the actor from Iron Man?
The guy that Obadiah Stane shouted at, I thought was a different actor, because he looked different. But because the guy that I thought he was, I got to double check this. I keep saying I got to check it. I never do, but I'm going to double check it. But he looked similar, but I think it might have been a different actor. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that. But the other ones, I don't think we saw their faces. Yeah. The other ones, we didn't see their faces, so we won't know. But that one I got shouted at by Obadiah Stane when he said to him, Iron Man built that suit in a cave with a bunch of scraps. Remember that bit?
Yeah. I heard you do that on your podcast. That was quite funny.
Yeah, that was quite accurate. I was like, okay, so they're like proper linking it all together. It felt like a bit of a Thor moment where all the bits come together, you know? Yeah.
So that, for me, that was amazing. That's what lifted the film up for me, those geeky moments. But obviously, I can't, like for you, Jonathan, I don't share that same feeling about it, because it wasn't coming in brand new. Fresh.
I mean, I got a bit lost. I didn't realise Captain America was dead.
Oh, did you see Endgame?
He was old, but he wasn't dead.
Well, I don't think he's dead, but he's officially that's pronounced dead.
I think they're making it seem as he's dead to give him that peace that he wants, but he's not technically dead. But I think the Avengers are making the world think that he's dead, kind of thing, you know, because then that way, otherwise, no one's gonna no one's going to ask him any questions. He can be an old man and just chill out on his pension, you know?
Yeah, that thing's bullshit in itself. How did he return them stones? I'm sorry, I'm still not getting over them. Like, he's gone. How did that go down? You turn up.
I had a conversation with someone yesterday about this, and basically, I'm with you as well. It's not going to be perfect, but they're saying that he returned the stones at the moment they were taken. So in reality, right now, Gavin, you see, I don't know, if anyone's got a drink in their hand or a drink on a table, if I go in time, take that cup from your table, in your time is still ticking at whatever time it is. But if I come back and put that cup like a millisecond after I've taken it, in your time, so that's a blink of an eye, so you won't notice it. If I'm good enough, you won't notice it. A blink of an eye.
What are you talking about? The soul stone?
All the stones.
Nah, the soul stone, bro, man. Think about
Well, the soul stone, yeah, he's gonna have to go back and see what's his name, innit? Red Skull. That's a conversation that they didn't cover. So we can't cover all the bases. They can't cover all the bases. There are holes in it, for sure.
That's a pretty big base. What are you talking about? That's his arch enemy. That's the one person that he's been scuffing.
I think Abby wants us to be talking about Spider-Man, though.
Can I say about Spider-Man thing? I didn't understand how when they posted that Spider-Man was Peter Parker, how did they knew that the villain was a fake, but he made it. You know, I'm really bad with all the names. Yeah, but the guy that came up on the board, but I don't understand how he made Mysterio a good guy when they all knew he was a fake, because they all saw the machinery break down and the actual characters.
What point are you talking about? Because no
when J. Jonah Jameson came at the end and revealed that Spider-Man was bad, and he's the one that launched the drones on London and New York or whatever.
And then that video clip was shown.
Yeah, it was edited, and I think that just goes to show again how good Mysterio is at deception. Like he's the best at deception. He can spin a story so that anyone can believe it.
Yeah, but then people on Tower Bridge were filming, so they would have seen the breakdown of I think it was all the elements that came together. Yeah. They would have seen it breaking down.
How did they know who broke it down? They don't know the minutiae of the detail. Also, look at today's society. People believe what you put in their face. If you put it in their face enough, they believe it. They come from a source that is supposed to be reputable, or someone that's got a loud mouth. People will believe it. Look at Trump. I mean, this guy, he's got himself elected. He's got a loud mouth. All these people got loud mouths, and if they're in your face enough, people start following them. But in the comic, Mysterio was good enough to deceive Wolverine enough that he killed all the X-Men, because his illusions, everything that he does attacks all your senses, not just your eyes.
You don't need to.
So he was good enough to make Wolverine even smell the X-Men.
Yeah, but that was the bit that I had to basically switch that part of my mind off, man.
That's good. That means it's good. Goes to a cartoon. Enjoy the cartoon part of it. Because you know what? When the illusions started happening, it did seem a bit bonkers, and physics went out the window. But that was exactly what they did in the cartoon. Right? Like they nailed. I felt like I was flown back to my childhood in front of the TV screen back in the 90s, watching an episode of Spider-Man.
And Fox Kids.
Yeah. So I thought that was perfect. I thought they couldn't have nailed it any better.
So in the comics, did he have powers?
What?
Or did he have machines? Like he
just had whatever he needed at his disposal to make the.
Yeah, no powers. He's just got machines, no powers.
Yeah, see, that's the bit I couldn't. I had to switch off. I was just like, not switch off from watching a movie, but switch off as in not look into the whole.
Your disbelief.
Yeah.
Iron Man didn't have any powers.
Yeah.
No, but he didn't have so many robots though. Like,
yes, he did.
Yeah, loads of stuff.
Okay.
These drones are state of the art.
Yeah.
So if your eye, they can make an image look so real. Underneath that, the drones themselves are also replicating the damage. So they're the ones that are breathing fire. They're the ones that are shooting against the wall, so that when the image punches the wall, the wall breaks up. So the drones are doing all the background work that the image is sort of illustrating. I know it's not. I mean, reality. I don't know how it would work, but it's a movie, man.
Exactly, reality is that thing I don't think about too much, man. Just
Yeah, I know. That's what I was saying. My mind started thinking too much, and that's why I had to rein it back.
Mine didn't switch off when there's a man in a spandex suit jumping from building to building. Come on, man.
It's all good. It's all good. They came good, man. As long as those elemental things weren't in the film yet,
Yeah.
I was cool with that, man. Like Jonathan said earlier, but it's still grounded in reality, still connected to Endgame. And I guess the next question, or next thing to just discuss briefly, did it feel like a closure to Phase 3? Do you feel like most things were answered, covered, brought about to a satisfactory end, or there were a lot of questions unanswered from the Phase 3?
So is this
just to remind you, is Infinity War, the whole Infinity War saga, from Thanos first appearing, that's Phase 3. So
they're going to carry this woman into, I'm not saying it like that, this woman, but Captain Marvel's going into the next phase.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's touched upon by the very end. The very end credit scene features a potential scene from Sword.
Yeah.
And I think Captain Marvel's going to be a part of that.
Yeah, she is a part of Sword, but yeah, I'm not. Yeah, I'm not.
You're definitely not starting Captain Marvel. We know that from.
No one is. Like, it's. I don't know.
They need to do. They need to develop her. They need to give her a story, a proper story.
They need to phase her
buy
out.
into it. Huh?
What they need to do is get her to introduce you to the next bit, which she will, that race and all that stuff, and then just phase her out.
Gavin, I can see more of your shoulder head than you. Back into the frame, man.
There's no way they're going to phase her out. There's no way.
You reckon?
They got to create a way.
I reckon I want them to phase her out.
Wow.
But this is an age of like equality. There's no way they're going to bring in.
No, they can't. There's no females.
Exactly. There's no way it's going to happen. I mean, maybe they rushed. Maybe they didn't. Maybe her initial film wasn't the best character-wise and journey-wise. But
see what we did with all the others is they made us connect with all the others, even if you don't like them. There's always something about them that you can identify with.
And there's enough time to do that as well. There's more.
They just threw her in. They just threw her in.
Someone different, or do you think it was just a storyline?
It was just a storyline.
Yeah.
A lack of storyline, I think it was.
But also, I was never sold on the actress. I don't think the actress is 100% suitable for the role, but
probably not.
But okay. But going back to the whole, was it a satisfactory end to Phase 3?
I don't think it's not. It wasn't for me anyway. It wasn't just watching the films. It wasn't very clear that was the end of anything. Like if you know about Marvel and you know about MCU and you're following like Phase 1, Phase 2, Phase 3, then I guess it'll be a satisfactory engine. I just thought it was the next in the film, next phase in the next film in the series, and the next one's going to be the next one, isn't it? I don't really see how it's the end. Yeah. Endgame was the end for me, and this just carried on from Endgame.
Yeah,
because what you're saying. Go on.
What's the next film that's going to be? Because I'm not great on all the characters, so I don't know. I didn't know what to do about this.
The Eternals. The Eternals is next, and I think that's going to be more of a backstory. But
no, it's going to be Black Widow. Black Widow's going to be next one, then Eternals.
There you go. Sorry, I should have consulted the.
No, Mr. Marvel.
You've got little birdies in the sky, so sorry.
I was so happy when she died. That character, like, the most important thing she did was died. That's it. It is.
Okay, thanks for that, Gavin. I mean, okay, all right. So moving on slightly from that, then. So just final thoughts on Spider-Man: Far From Home. I mean, I think the general consensus is that we all liked it. Maybe myself and you probably a little less than everyone else. But yeah, what's your one takeaway from it, if it was to be one? Jonathan?
My one takeaway is Tom Holland is a good Spider-Man. I like him.
More than Tobey Maguire?
Do you know what? I was a bit torn, but because of the stage of his where he is in the film, because he's a younger lad, I think he's doing a good job. I think he's carrying it well, and I think he's giving them longevity. He can be in it for the next 4 or 5 films. So I think that's a good thing.
Yeah.
And they're doing well.
He can last that long.
I
I don't think he can last that long.
No, maybe not. Maybe 2 or 3 more films, maybe.
I'll say one more.
Yeah.
So, man, your takeaway?
Yeah, I you know what? I liked it because at the battle at the end, I didn't realize how quick Spider-Man was. Like, he's super quick. Like, but there was parts in it where I was just like, I enjoyed it. It wasn't as good as the end, but it was literally like the battle with all those robots that, you know, was projecting the illusion, and him taking so many of them out.
Yeah.
Because I haven't seen him that quick in any of the other previous Spider-Man films. So that's what was like. That is what blew me away. It was just like, he's actually real quick.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough.
I'm happy that it restored some faith in them after Endgame. Endgame was so bad that this was imperative, and it was good.
Did you see
I don't know what's to come.
You saw it with your kids, right? It was like you saw it with your kids, or you saw it on your own. Like, did that make a difference?
What, this film?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Why would it make a difference? They
I
don't
don't know,
really
it's
talk.
like, maybe seeing it with the boys just added value to the enjoyment, or saw it.
No, what you're trying to say is that you think I'm kind of smoking saying that I think.
No, you know what? No, I don't know.
Endgame is bad.
I'm not
Endgame
used
terrible.
to this favourable response.
No, it's because I remember, Gavin, you said that what you enjoyed was how your boys reacted to the beginning of the movie.
I watch them all with my sons, but it doesn't. They don't really talk much. If anything, they fall asleep in some of them. Right. But this one, they actually thought it was really good, and they're usually quite good. Like they'll see a film and they'll say if it's rubbish or not. And this one they said was really good. I thought it was really good, and I think they said Endgame was rubbish, and I've seen Endgame a few.
So they kind of say what you say.
No, don't. No, listen. If Endgame was just made and Infinity Wars wasn't, I might be less critical on it. But you cannot show me Infinity Wars and then give me that afterwards. Sorry, Infinity Wars was that good.
Well, I think what I was saying to that point is that it's hard to see it as 2 separate films, because it is a it's like Kill Bill Volume 1 and 2.
Yeah.
They are a continuation of one story. So it was supposed to be Infinity War Part 1 and Part 2 originally, before they changed the second film's title, but it was the same story. But yeah, that's another discussion though. I want to try and wrap this part of it up. But Deval, what would you say your takeaway was?
So what was that?
What's your takeaway? What's your one thing from...
my takeaway, I guess, was, I liked it. I liked the one thing, keep it short, I liked the way they depicted Mysterio's powers on screen. It was very like the comics basically. That's it. End of. It was good. I liked it. Very psychedelic. Very Steve Ditko. Like the way his illustrations are and they sort of pop out. It's very much like that.
Yeah. Okay, that's good. And Louise?
I enjoyed it. I'm not sure where the next film is gonna go, but I would really like to see some new characters come about. Now, obviously Iron Man's no longer a Tony Stark. It would be great to see if they can bring some new characters in as part of it, or to link on.
What was your take?
Mine's more on the side of Deval. Like I think that moment I'd already sort of discussed that where the illusion happens. That was just straight out the comic book, and I love that. And then the J. Jonah Jameson at the end. That just was a total surprise. So that I love those little things. Like they managed to get on board the original actor from a whole different Spider-Man series of films. Yeah, I love that sort of thing, because a real effort's been made to try and keep the fans happy and stuff like that. So
every time I see that actor, I can't take him out of ours. But anyway, that's another thing.
That's a whole nother. Yeah, well, but he does a good J. Jonah, and
he does. Yeah.
But where it goes next, I have no idea, because like what Gavin said, the sort of the unmasking Spider-Man presents a whole bunch of problems, and I'm hoping that they really adjust and deal with that properly, because otherwise it's just going to be a mess. But yeah, we'll see. But so just on that sort of tying it to something else now, because the multiverse.
Yes.
I think it's going to be.
Sorry, I forgot about the film.
Yeah, no, I am, because
One of my favourite films, man.
Okay, good. I want to talk about this briefly, because I feel like Sony did a really good job with this particular film, and I'm hoping that with the next Spider-Man, they're going to explore maybe the character of Miles Morales, because they've already, I don't know if you're aware, but they've already introduced his uncle into the first film. I didn't even clock this, first of all. I think Deval mentioned this to me a while ago, but his uncle, Miles Morales' uncle, is played by, what's his name? Danny Glover.
Donald Glover.
Yeah, that's it. He's actually, so I'm really hoping that they, with the multiverse or something, his character. So this was a good film. I don't know if everyone saw this, but
No, I saw it.
yeah, into the multiverse,
I liked it.
a lot of good things.
It was good. It was good.
Yeah, like from the story, the characters, even the music, everything was just well. I think, and I'm hoping Marvel MCU would sort of pick up on some of the things that film, the animation did really well. Who didn't see Into the Multiverse? Because I'm assuming we're all in agreement with that being a really good.
I really enjoyed it. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, and I think the introduction of Miles Morales will just turn things up a bit, and the whole multiverse thing. So, but now that Phase 3 has ended, I think what's going to happen. I don't know if you've seen the release of some of the Marvel 4 films, but Marvel Phase 4 films. But one of them is going to explore what do you call it? Doctor Strange. His next film is going to explore multiverse. So when you see those sort of things, maybe I get carried away a bit too much, but it's just the whole possibility of exploring different dimensions, different possibilities, different characters. One thing I was reading, one thing I saw actually explored the different people that played Spider-Man. So there's this notion that you might get to see Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield both as different Spider-Men from different universes or dimensions, which I thought was funny. But who knows? I just feel like it could go anywhere. So
They might be wet.
Yeah. Hello?
Yeah, no, I was saying they might be a bit old by then, right?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking as well.
CGI, folks. CGI.
Yeah. They make Will Smith.
Yeah,
Exactly. So it's all possible, but yeah, I think this multiverse film, did a lot of good things, and that's what I'm excited about for the future. There's some Phase 4 things that I've seen that I'm not really too keen on. I've already expressed this in another talk. I'm not too keen on where Marvel goes next. I feel like what they've achieved has been a really good thing. It's happened at a time when people didn't have any expectations. Now all of our expectations have been raised. It's almost like I think we're going to see, like what Jonathan was saying before, some things where it's not going to live up to expectation, or things have been overhyped. So I don't know. I don't know. What are your views on this? Because I don't know. I want to be positive and enthusiastic, but I'm finding it difficult. I
think it's going to be. I think it's going to be hard.
I didn't want them to make that. I wanted them to leave Snipes alone.
You went to what? What?
I wanted them to leave Wesley Snipes' blade alone. I thought that was enough. I didn't. And I do like that guy who's playing the
yeah, because he'll do a good job.
Yeah, but Snipes did a good job. It's good enough. Like
who's playing Blade? Is it going to be a remake? Who's playing? Is someone going to do Blade?
Yeah.
He's in Moonlight.
Mahershala Ali. Damn.
But I mean.
But do you reckon it's going to be like a reboot then?
What's that?
You reckon that it will be like a reboot? So they're going to leave like Wesley Snipes?
Yeah, that's
how it was, and then
yeah, I think it's going to be integrated into the MCU. So they're already talking about changing the story or making the story more like what it was in the comics. Because I think Wesley Snipes' Blade wasn't 100% or wasn't as accurate. There's some things that weren't quite right, but
no. But what I thought it did do right was it actually like helped spawn the rest of the other.
Definitely did that. So they've got a lot to thank Blade for, because that was like one of the original superhero sort of Marvel success stories. But I think there's a lot more they can do with it, you know, in the future, and just bring it in to the MCU.
Yeah.
So just exploring some of those next MCU films. I don't know if you can see in the background some of the different films.
I think Wesley Snipes is you can't beat that. Like, he actually is a karate dude.
Oh yeah, definitely. I'm sure Marshall Ali Bali, he's going to definitely get skills up, because for that last film that he did, what's it, Green Book? He didn't know how to play the piano, but he learned those skills.
In the car.
What's that?
What's that? The one when he was in the car or something?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, he's playing the piano like he proper plays it, but he only learned to play the piano for that film. So an actor like that, you know, is going to bring his game, his A game. You know, so I'm not worried about that casting. I think he's going to do a good job. But it's just how it all gets connected, and whether there's so many characters in the MCU that it starts to lose its potency. You know, those are my concerns. But I don't know. You can see in the background, there's a whole bunch of films.
On your head. Oh, Black Widow.
Black Widow's coming out. Some of these are TV shows as well. But
is Loki one a TV show?
Yeah, Loki's a TV show. WandaVision, I think, is a TV show.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
What do you lot think about the whole the use of TV shows and Marvel branching out into like these new, like, what do you call it, WandaVision and all that rubbish?
Yeah.
How do you think that's going to fit in with all this stuff?
I think it'll fit in a lot better than Daredevil and Luke Cage, what they tried to do with that. So I feel like that's, at least it's going to sit within the MCU and not sort of deviate too much from it.
But then will it have a knock-on effect if you've not seen the shows, if you then go and see a film? Because I don't have a television and I won't watch any of these. So
no, I think they're gonna have to keep it separate. Like,
oh really? The Val, come on, step in, man. Because
not 5 minutes.
Yeah.
No way. They're gonna link it. They're gonna. It's all linked, so you have to basically watch it to understand what's going on. Like, for example,
you mean the TV shows? They're going to link.
Shows, yeah.
For example,
in WandaVision, it's gonna introduce Maria Rambeau, who's the daughter of Monica Rambeau, who's the daughter of Maria Rambeau, who was Captain Marvel's friend in the film. Yeah. And in that film, it's gonna sort of link on to then Doctor Strange's Multiverse of Madness.
Yeah, so they're going to do crossover like they already do with like DC characters.
But better.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, so to answer the question, Louise, it's going to be linked. So you're going to have to get yourself a subscription, or speak to one of us on offline to get you these to get you to see it.
Okay, so that answers the question. But yeah, I think with some of these projects, some of these new films, I think it should be exciting. It should bring about a more connected universe, some more equality with like Love and Thunder. Hopefully, Gavin will be happier with a better.
I think that's better.
I feel it will be a bit of a trial and error though, with the whole crossover stuff, because like they're going to move at different paces, right? So in order for like a crossover to happen, they're going to have to be like monitoring every single one of them to make sure that they can get a decent crossover.
Yeah, $1 billion industry, man. They're going to work all that out. Wait 1 second. Move out the way, is it?
Who? Which way?
Yeah, just move out.
They worked all that out 2 years ago. Like whatever they're telling us now, they've worked out years ago.
Yeah, but I don't know how it will work, because if there's so many different shows and you then go and see a film, because you know there's those people that will sit there and see the coffee cup in the Starbucks coffee cup in Game of Thrones. They'll sit there and watch and break it down. And
but Deval,
one thing doesn't, let's just go into enjoy rather than trying to think about breaking it down.
Deval.
Yeah.
I reckon that they're going to keep the TV shows separate from the movies. They're not going to basically like start off with Loki series and then move into a movie of Loki.
Well, who knows? I mean, that could happen, couldn't it? But it'd be a prequel, wouldn't it? I don't know.
The majority of these are TV programs.
Some of them, yeah.
The majority of them aren't there, because
Eternals isn't. And there's Doctor Strange.
Loki is. WandaVision is, and then there's another one. Doctor Strange could kind of.
This is it's a film. That's the second.
Yeah, no, but it's got like it's already got a base, so you can work with that. But and so as 4, it's just the Eternals is the only one that you really have to kind of really introduce new again. So I don't see a problem with. I don't think the TV programs and that will cross over as much as you think.
Well,
No, I think with the characters like that have been strong on the big screen, sometimes the transition like onto the small screen doesn't work out.
But I think you're thinking about crossover too much. It's just portraying a story that's just filling the gap. I don't think we're going to start seeing characters all appearing in different things. It's just telling a small story. So WandaVision is just the Vision and Wanda. That's all it is. And the Falcon Winter Soldier will just tell the story of those two and maybe just feature one of the villains that we've already seen. So we're not going to suddenly have to worry about different elements crossing into.
I don't need to speak to someone offline then. Okay, that's all right.
Yeah. Oh, okay, great. I'm glad we were able to help in that area. But yeah, I think a lot of these things would just fill gaps and just give us a better insight into things we already are familiar with a TV show. That's my understanding of it. I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Let me just end this then. Thank you for joining. It's been a pleasure hosting this, and I look forward to seeing you guys on the next big talk, which will be Star Wars at the end of the year.